Little Nightmares 3 just came out. It was a disappointment. Let me tell you why. This video is kind of just going to be a rant about it. It's not going to be organized very well. It's not going to be super polished. That kind of reminds me of something. My hopes weren't super high from the very first trailer for this thing like 3 years ago. I could pretty instantly tell that the theming was going to be different. And it's not that there's a problem with the theming being different. I mean, it's a sequel. It has to change up some stuff. But Little Nightmares 2 was also a sequel, and it clearly had the essence of Little Nightmares all over it. It had Little Nightmares blood flowing through its veins. It's honestly impressive how this game manages to reuse so many assets, and like it's clearly following a formula, even though it's kind of misunderstanding it. But also it feels like a completely separate thing. Like, yeah, you're a little person and there's big, scary, ugly things and you're hiding from them and running away from them and killing them sometimes. But there's a lot more to the original games that made them unique. Like in the original two games, each monster kind of was a metaphor. They kind of represented human greed or some human flaw that's been exaggerated and warped. Like the guests from the first game. I mean, yeah, they're like giant, scary, hideous things, but it's because they represent gluttony or something. They're constantly shoving food in their mouths. And they also provide visual storytelling because they kind of explain all the work that's being done around here on this big, weird ship thing that we're stuck on. It's all catered towards them so they can come here and eat, which also makes us scared of them because we know what's going to happen if we get too close. They're going to grab us and shove us down their throat. So tell me, what does this big, stupid baby in the desert mean? Is there any reason for this being here other than because some of the concept art for the second game had a big meat baby in them? And I'm not scared of this thing. I don't feel any tension when I'm around it. It's stupid. Its two tricks that it has is it'll destroy stuff around you and make buildings collapse, which is from the second game, or it'll like shine you with its eye and turn you into stone, which is from the first game. And oh no, what if it grabs me? What am I gonna do then? It literally does grab you in like a forced cutscene. It grabs you, it catches you, it picks you up, and then it just drops you and you wake up and you're fine. It'll never jump scare you because the thing is massive, like you're gonna hear it from a mile away. And it's like, okay, maybe all that's true, but I'm sure they've come up with some really unique puzzles here involving the eye and the fact that it's massive and can pick up the ground you're standing on. But no, the stupid puzzles in this game, or rather the lack thereof, is going to be its own section because holy crap, it's so apparent. You would think the fact that the game is now multiplayer would allow for even more complex puzzles, but the amount of rooms where the goal is walk from left to right and then open a vent and then climb through the vent and then pull down a plank and then walk from left to right more. Oh my god, that's the entire game. That's the entire 3-hour runtime. But back to the monsters. Okay, so there's a secondary enemy kind of in the Necropolis desert level. So you got the big baby walking around. And then you go like in the tunnels or like under these buildings where you'll find big beetles. Is that the best we could come up with, guys? I mean, the first game had like giant leeches, but those kind of worked because they fit the theme. We're on a big ship in the ocean. They're kind of an aquatic creature. And then the second game had the bullies, which were like as big as you. And it makes sense because we're in a school and they're cool because they're made out of pottery. You can shatter them. There's cool mechanics here. And then you go to the doctor level and there's these hands that move on their own. And how are they doing that? Oh, and it's crawling through the vent. Oh, it's gonna get me. Big beetle. And you shoot it with your bow and arrow that you can't aim. So the game shoots it for you. And then the other character goes and smashes it on the ground. But you know, this is only our first encounter with the scary beetles. I mean, it could get crazy from here. I mean, what if we get cornered by like 50 of them? No, this is the only time they show up. And this goes for every single new little aspect they introduce to the game, where they'll show you a glimpse of it first, and then you'll get your first big encounter with it, and you're like, oh, I wonder how this is going to come into play later with puzzles. How am I going to deal with this? And then it only happens once, and it's really easy. I'm not even just talking about new enemies. I'm talking about like even the mechanics, like the umbrella that you find. A perfectly sized, pre-made little crow umbrella. You find it, and you find this big vent, and you find out that you can fly up them, and you can also fly down long distances and not take fall damage, and you wonder, oh man, I wonder if I'll have to use this during a chase or something, or I wonder if there's going to be a puzzle coming up where I have to use this cleverly. No. Like, you use them 3 times to go up the same kind of vents that you did the first time, and then you go to the next chapter and you just don't have them anymore. And I'm pretty sure they don't even explain how you lost them. Shoot, this part it's supposed to be about the enemies of the game, but I keep going on tangents and ranting, but like, That's most of what you'll be doing too if you actually play the game. Most of your time is just going to be spent comparing it to the previous two and appreciating the last ones more now. We just need to stop making sequels to things. I mean, eventually it's going to lose what made it special. So yeah, big bad number 2 is I don't even know what she's called, the supervisor. You would never know that based on what she does in the game. I mean, in the second game, the teacher, she's a teacher because she's teaching a class and she looks like a teacher. The doctor's a doctor because he's in a hospital and he's curing his patients or whatever. This is the most generic AI-generated Little Nightmares character of all time. What's her thing that she's obsessed with? Like, she's not supervising anything. She's just kind of, like, rolling around and she's, like, yelling and she's mad about something. And then she, like, takes off her legs, or, I mean, like, her, like, wheel or whatever she was on. But yeah, that's another thing. So the janitor, clearly a human. He just has really long arms that stretch a lot and really short legs. And he is blind because there's like a mask pulled down over his face. So, you know, he's clearly a person that's been warped and misshapen because of his profession and the thing he's obsessed with. And it also makes for a unique gameplay because you can't make sound when you're around him, but you can be right in front of him. That's cool. And he can reach through things and reach you from far away, so it's hard to run away from him. It's cool and it's scary because you're trying to avoid his little fingers. There is nothing unique about the supervisor. Yeah, she unhooks her lower body from the top and now she's crawling around. But you're still just like running away from her. There's no special mechanic here. She's like the quintessential, you have to hide from her because she's big and she'll grab you if she sees you. And you know, the guests are huge because they eat a lot. The teacher's neck stretches out really long because she has to watch over the kids and see what they're doing and be creepy. Why does this chick have 6 arms? And she's not even a chick. She's not even a human anymore. This is just like a bug thing. The design of everything is just, it feels so dumbed down from the previous games. I mean, she's here because in these games you run away from scary looking big monster people. And the workers at this big factory thing, they're here and they're fat because the guests are fat. And they're ugly and they're hanging and they're on hooks because hooks is a reoccurring theme, and so is hanging people. And they look miserable because everyone looks miserable in these games. But this is just not really thought-provoking at all. And never once are these guys antagonists. There's this one part of the game where you have to go find lights that are copy-pasted from Little Nightmares 2, so you can open an elevator that's copy-pasted from Little Nightmares 2. And there's this one room where it's like a huge, big room, and there's one of these guys hanging from the ceiling. And it would be a perfect opportunity to finally have some tension, and we have to avoid this thing, maybe. But no, you can do anything, and it's not going to attack you. In the other 2 games, it feels like the world hates you. Everything is constantly at your throat and wants you dead or in their mouth. This game, you're just kind of existing. Like, you don't really feel like you're not supposed to be here. And so you walk on by this guy that's hanging from the ceiling and you unplug the light from the wall. And then you go back into that big room and you see that, oh my gosh, he fell and now he's dead. Haha, he's dead. First of all, how did unplugging a little light bulb from the wall make him fall? And second of all, like in the first game, you like to see the guests fall and die because they're trying to hunt you. I kind of feel bad for this guy. He didn't do anything. So then you walk back through this big room, which has now kind of been wasted since nothing happened in it. And you have to use the light to get away from these bugs. And oh my gosh, an enemy that doesn't like the light. Where have I seen that before? But it's really stupid because you would have had to walk through this room with the light anyway. So whether the bugs are here or not, nothing changes. And you know, all this stuff sounds nitpicky. It's little things. But this whole game is just a big pile of little things that don't work. So then we get out of there. We never see the little bugs again. We never really see the people hanging again. And now the supervisor, teacher, what lady is attacking us, and she's on 6 legs. And oh my gosh, now she's chasing us just like the chase scenes from the last games. Except it's not as hard because all you really do is jump and slide. And oh my gosh, now we're going to kill her because we killed those other characters in the last games. This is such a stupid death. Why is this here? Why is there a compactor in the middle of this room and it like takes up the whole room and there's like a perfectly sized lever for us? What would this be for? And then we squish her. Oh my goodness. Hey, who was that lady? Like, by the time we kill the hunter, he's already been hunting us through the forest and we've been in his house and he's been shooting us with a shotgun for like 30 minutes. She shows up like a total of 3 times and she's hardly even an inconvenience. But, you know, we're only a few enemies in. It doesn't have to be anything great yet. No, we're halfway through the game. This is the end of the 2nd chapter out of 4. I'm yet to feel any tension or fear or anything other than mind-numbing boredom. So we go through another mirror into this next place, and it's like a carnival place, right? We're walking around, we get the flashlight from the second game, and we're seeing glimpses of some new enemies, up-and-coming enemies. There's this little doll guy, they're ugly. I'm really scared. And so now we're in the big carnival area with all the tents and the Ferris wheel in the background. And there's like the carnival goers, and they're these really fat people. And I mean, they're just the guests again. Except these guys also never really attack you. I mean, they're kind of just set pieces for the most part. They like get beat up. There's one part where one's like strung from a rope and he's getting beat up. And it's like, that's what you get. Maybe. I don't know if that's what he deserves. They're kind of chill. There's this one part where I think it's the only part where they really attack you, unless you specifically go up to them with the intention of them turning around and smashing you. There's this one guy who's blindfolded because he's like using another one as a piñata, and you have to call him over to get him to smash stuff that's in your way. And if you suck at this puzzle, then you get killed by him. But that's it. So I don't know what their role is here. I don't know why they're fat. I don't know what they represent. There's not really any thought behind it. I mean, I think the carnival area is probably my favorite thus far. It's the most reminiscent of the previous two. It's the longest chapter so far. It has the most, I guess you could call them puzzles. Oh yeah, and the little jester clown guys come back like once. Like, I think you see them where there's like two of them standing there and you just sneak by them. And then there's like this place you have to walk through with 1 million of them around you. And you have to sneak through there, because if they wake up, then you're guaranteed to die, and that's it. At this point, I'm drooling. I'm about ready to refund the game. And then we are introduced to I think probably the best enemy in this game. He's like a ventriloquist guy. His name is the Kin, and his hand is like another little enemy, and it detaches and it runs after you. It works. It feels a lot like something Tarzero Studios would have made. Unfortunately, this little section of the game is where I experienced the most glitches. I played the game single player because I only have one Xbox controller. So yeah, I was having some problems with the AI. Alone kept dying, and then I would die too. This one part with the plank that leads up to the hot air balloon, oh my god. I probably redid this part around 10 times because the AI kept falling off the plank. And then when you have to pull the little lever, the AI wasn't doing it. It was pissing me off. And I recognized that probably not only this section, but the whole game would have been a lot better if I had been playing with another person. That way I could have talked with another person about how big of a letdown it was and not just to myself. But yeah, I like this enemy. It's pretty quirky. I like it. This whole section was alright. Some parts were a little boring. It might have dragged for a second. I like the roller coaster part. And I like the hot air balloon. And, we're doing good. Good job, Supermassive Games. And now we get to the final chapter, which is also, it's pretty good. The one feature with the plush of Alone is really cool. I've never seen a game do that. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around how they coded that. But I love that. I thought that made this last chapter. It was kind of like one big puzzle. I really liked it. But enemies, you got the big flower things that'll like look at you and then spit their tongue at you, and that's all right. Like I like it. That's unique. Never seen anything like that. And then you have the doctor characters with like, or the nurses. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. They're kind of worthless. They don't really do much. You see like 2 of them, and then you get to the big bad final boss. And look, I have not listened to The Sound of Nightmares. I don't know who this character is. I can infer, based on contextual clues, that this is like Lowe's, like, I'm not even gonna try. I subscribe to the belief that you shouldn't have to listen to a podcast to enjoy a game, or understand it. But, these games are not really about understanding them fully. It's about what they represent and what you take from it. And you know what? And for what it's worth, this character was very cool and very unique. It did it's an enemy, but it's huge now. A lot better than the stupid baby. I actually felt scared of this one a little bit when you're like running away from the hand and it's like crawling towards you. The face is a little goofy. I don't know about it. But I like the hands with the eyes. And yeah, it's good. It's similar to the final level of the second game. But I'm fine with it. And I'm ending this game with like a blank expression on my face rather than a frown. Overall, in terms of enemies in this game, I'm wildly disappointed. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I could have come up with, give me like a few hours and a pencil and paper, and I'll draw you some cool Little Nightmares characters. When I hear Little Nightmares, I'll always think of like the janitor or the hunter. I will never think about the stupid baby. These monsters weren't threatening, they weren't thought-provoking, they didn't feel very clever, they felt dumbed down. Skip. Okay, now let's talk about the god-awful, non-existent puzzles. Holy crap. It gets ever so slightly better as the game goes on, specifically the end of the third chapter and everything that happens in the final chapter. But I have never been more completely bored out of my mind than the first few chapters of this game. It was like I went into a coma and then I woke up and suddenly I'm in chapter 3. Necropolis, more like the snooze fest, because oh my god. And I was hoping, I was praying that in the first few like little rooms of the first chapter, you know, they're just warming us up. Maybe this is your first time ever picking up a video game controller, you know. Maybe this is for the real dum-dums out there who got to learn the basics. They got to learn how to run, jump, push things. And I'm like, okay, we're settling into it. And then I remembered Little Nightmares 2 and how we just wake up in the middle of a forest and the mood, the tone of the game is already set. The look of it is already set. We're introduced to the main character. And, you know, that entire section in the woods before we get to the hunter's cabin or leading up to it is filled with little puzzles. The pine cones you have to throw to the bear traps, the traps you have to look out for. It's great, and it's not dumbed down. Dear God, the amount of just completely empty rooms where you just walk from left to right. And if I had a nickel for every single time there was like a set of rooms where I like walked back through because I swear I must have missed something because there's no way they actually just had nothing in them, I could buy the Little Nightmares franchise and reboot this thing and make it better. I mean, dear God, there's probably like 25 vents you have to pull up and walk through in the first chapter, probably around 57 planks you have to work together and pull off of a wall, and it's the same animation every single time. And I know it's an issue of me playing single player and not multiplayer, but oh my god, every single time I make it to a vent before the AI does, and then I just have to sit there and spam the call button because they're like still climbing a ladder, or maybe they're just standing somewhere and they don't know what's going on, and I can't open the vent until they get over here. And then, or I'll enter a room where something scary is about to happen, like there'll be the baby's rattle in the middle of the room, and I know the big hand is going to come through the ceiling and grab it, but it's not going to happen until the stupid AI catches up, so I'm just standing there waiting for the jump scare, and therefore it's not a jump scare. It's not like Secrets of the Maw bad, like the chapter with the gnomes. Holy crap, if you want to experience pure rage, go back and play that. But man, it really feels at times like it's a walking and standing and waiting simulator. The marketing for this game talked endlessly about how now the characters have their own little tools. There's a bow and arrow and there's a wrench, but it kind of pisses me off because it feels like any chance for there to be a puzzle is ruined because they'll just put like a rope you have to shoot, or the bow will just shoot for you, or there's like a button that you just smash with the wrench, and it's the same rope and the same button every single time. And it's like, okay, here's the baby, and it has the eye from the first game, and it turns you into stone, and it's like, okay, yeah, we've seen that before, but like, let's spice it up a little bit. Maybe there's something new this time about the eye. But no, they just play it completely straight, where you have to hide behind things or you get turned to stone. But they've done it kind of worse, where in the first game, they give you a little bit of leeway. So if the eye catches you, you still have a few seconds to walk back into the shade before you get fully turned to stone. In this game, you're boned if you get seen by it. Like, it's instant back to the last checkpoint. And by the way, the checkpoints are not good in this game. They'll set you back like 3 minutes. But there's just so many little moments where you're thinking that maybe I have to do something more than what I'm doing. It can't really be that the solution is to just sit here and wait for the enemy's animation to stop, but that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Like, one of the final scenes with the baby, I think the final scene, it picks you up and it picks up the room that you're in, and it's like shaking it back and forth, and you're like, oh man, am I gonna have to run around? Am I gonna get thrown around by the baby tilting the room? No, you just stand in the middle of it, and then a box falls, and you stand behind the box. Epic boss battle. And then crows start flying around the baby's head for no reason, and it like waddles away. And that's the last you see of the baby. Nice knowing you. Like, what the hell? The janitor is the first enemy of Little Nightmares 1, and that he had his own little boss battle. You run away from him, and then you're trapped in this little room with the shopping cart, and you have to pull the wires off of it so that the door falls down and chops his arms off. And it's like poetic. Oh, he needs those arms, and now you've chopped his arms off, and they're gone. What's like poetic or funny even about crows flying around the baby and then it leaves? I don't care. Like, is this really the best thing we could come up with as like a final showdown and to get rid of the baby? I don't know, maybe in the podcast somewhere it explains that the crows actually hate giant babies, and this was a long time coming. I wouldn't know, though, and I'm not gonna bother to listen to it. I think the idea of a Little Nightmares podcast is really cool, where it tells its own little stories. I just don't think that we should explain the world explicitly. Like, it should be something we have to piece together, or it really does mean nothing, and it's just a device to tell little scary stories that might be a metaphor for something. And then we go through another mirror, and now we're in the candy slop factory, and you get whiplash because it has nothing to do with the previous setting, and the previous setting will never come back. What was all that? So then, we go through some more godforsaken vents and climb some ladders in the vents, and we push some stuff back and forth. I just yawned talking about this game. I think now would be a good time to mention all the reused assets from the second game and even the first game. Wow. This is the most egregious example of it, but like the lights, the elevators, literally all the sound effects, the music. Oh my god, this game has no music in it. I mean, you can't think of the first game without hearing the ding, 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 ding. And you can't think of the second game without hearing the This game has no music to its name. It's just ambience. And like the one or two times that it does have music, it's literally reused from the second game. Reused audio for like machinery and things. Reused audio for like the sound cues when you pick up a secret. Oh yeah, the secrets in this game. So you know how in the previous games, every secret room had something cool and unique about it, or something funny, like you'd go under a log in the second game and there'd be like a giant rat caught in a trap, and there's like a little secret on top of it, and you can jump on the rat and it'll squish. Just something to make playing back through the game worth it, and to make you, I don't know, chuckle. The secret rooms in this game, not only are they incredibly easy to find, 9 times out of 10 you just go left instead of right, and there's like a little door that you can see and you just go in there. But also the secret rooms themselves, there's nothing secret about them. They just look like the rest of the environment. It's just like a little empty room with like a little plush, I think, in it. That's the new collectible. But in the first game, if I remember correctly, every time you get a secret, you can go in the extras menu and you get a little bit of concept art. And it's cool to look at. And it's another thing that makes it worth it to find these secrets, other than just to get an achievement. And then in the second game, they made that even better, where you find the secret little rooms and you get a hat each time. That's the collectible. There's multiple collectibles. You get the hats, you get the little TV static children. To my knowledge, the collectibles in Little Nightmares 3 give you absolutely gobbledygook. You get nothing for it. There's no concept art. There's nothing in the extras menu. You don't get costumes for the characters. You still have to buy those. That's right, people. There is day one DLC. You can buy skins in Little Nightmares. Can you believe it? I can't wait for Little Nightmares 4 so I can ready up with my Little Nightmares squad and buy the battle pass. So yeah, it's 100% not worth it to go back and find the secrets, because they're all boring and you get nothing except for an achievement. I thought maybe you get like a little secret ending maybe if you find all the secrets, but no, you get the secret, or I guess the post-credit scene either way, so don't do it. So yeah, what were we talking about? You're in the candy factory. There's like these cameras, and they can see you, and you can see yourself on the television, and I'm like, whoa, I can't wait to see how this will come into play. Oh, I sure hope that I get to see it more than one time. I hope they don't just use it a single time, and I hope it isn't stupid in that single time, because you just have to, like, turn the power off. That's exactly what happens. Okay. Well, at least the little tiny bugs show up more than twice. Oh, they do show up twice. Okay. Just think about all the fun little rooms and things they had in, like, the school chapter of Little Nightmares 2. In that game, you have to, like, smash the bullies' heads in and avoid the wooden planks to avoid traps, and you have to set them off to kill the bullies, and then you have to go in the other room, and you have to be quiet because there's a bully who's tied to a rope, and they just keep reintroducing the same concept in new ways, and you'll actually get to spend time with these things and remember them after you play the game. This whole chapter is just like a 25-minute long bite out of a nothing burger. I also think back to, like, the little details, such as, like, Six playing with the fingers of a mannequin in the second game in a sort of demonic and twisted way, foreshadowing her character arc. Once or twice they'll try and do stuff like that in this game, but it doesn't feel earned because I don't know who these characters are and I don't really care. Look at these two rooms right here, how it's like a freezer and then we climb up this little ladder thing. Why wasn't there a puzzle here? Plenty of room here for something, anything, but your only goal is to hold your joystick to the right. So halfway through the game, I don't know what the hell is going on. My eyes are watering and I've been asleep for 45 minutes. I'm dreaming of the days of the sausage making puzzle in Little Nightmares 1 and the chess room puzzle in Little Nightmares 2. There's this one big room in the third chapter where it's like a big clock or like gear wheel thing in the center of the room, and I'm like, oh my goodness, is this gonna be the first big puzzle? Do I have to put my thinking cap on? Not really, you kind of just rotate it and then you climb up it and So then you walk around, you push some boxes back and forth and climb on top of them. You're kind of asleep at the wheel still. You're hoping that that big Ferris wheel in the background will actually be something you go on, and maybe there's like a puzzle involved maybe, but it'll never happen. Then you do everything with the Ken and you run away from him and you go in the hot air balloon and the lightning thunder. We're going down, crash land on a beach. Oh, what's this building? Oh, I sure hope there is nothing spooky inside of this building. And then this game locks the freak in all of a sudden, and it gets really cool. Again, I couldn't tell you the story significance of it, but you pick up this little doll of the other character, and you like walk around, and the building you're in is like completely dilapidated. It's overgrown. It's old. It's crumbling. But you pick up the doll, and it brings back your memories of how the place used to be, and when you're holding it, it makes the environments go back in time to what it was, so you can, like, if there's like a giant hole in the floor in the present, you'll pick up the doll and you can walk back over it where there used to be a floor, and doors will be open and everything looks nice. It's really well done. I love it. And it allows for some good puzzles. Like, this whole chapter is kind of one big puzzle. How many times can I say the word puzzle in one video? And then, so you're kind of done with the plushie, and now you're dealing with the giant hands with the eye and the monster, and the gameplay is fine. You're kind of just running away from it like you'd run away from anything else, but I don't know, it's serviceable because it's an interesting set piece. And then you shoot it in its eyes, and then you go through the final mirror, and what, the game's over? This is the most expensive game in the franchise, and it also took the longest out of any other game in the franchise, and that's it. I know there's going to be DLC chapters, but bruh, I didn't do anything. I didn't have enough time to get invested in the enemies or the protagonists. Who are these people? You feel so trapped in the first game when you're on the Maw. You get so interested in the world, and you're really curious about what this thing is that you're on. There's environmental clues, like the thing swaying back and forth, and then you find out towards the end of the game, oh, we're on a big ship, and there's these giant people coming out of the ship. What's the ship for? And then in the second game, you feel really stuck inside the Pale City, and you feel drawn towards the center of it, and you want to keep pushing forward, and all the places you go make sense because you're in a city. Of course there'd be a hospital and a school and stuff. That's another thing. All the environments in the previous games felt like just like giant, exaggerated, warped areas that you might find in the real world, and you're just a little rat inside of them. You're not really supposed to be here, and you have to work your way through them. You're too small for the world around you, but it is still a real world that is lived in. I don't know what this big desert temple, stone wall city, ancient windmill city thing is, and I don't care. I don't care why this big baby's here. It's stupid. I don't care about this giant slop candy factory. Okay. I mean, the carnival is kind of cool, maybe, but we don't really spend a whole lot of time there. And then we're in like this institution, prison, daycare place. And cool. But like, it doesn't feel climactic because we've only been playing for a few hours at this point. In the first Little Nightmares, you feel like you're at the complete lowest point of whatever place you're in. You feel cold, it's dark, and then you kind of work your way up and you see, oh, here's like the janitor's closet, here's his little area, here's his domain. Then you go to the kitchen and they're cooking something. Who are they cooking for? And then you get out of there and you see, oh, here's the guests, and now we're in the kitchen. Now we're in the lion's den. And then we see who really runs the place. Now we're at the very top. We're at the lighthouse almost, you know. And then in the second game, you really follow Mono in his journey, starting from the forest outside the city. We meet Six, and then we work our way into the city with her, and you know, we form a bond between these two characters, and we get attached to them. And then you get really upset when Six is ripped away from you for whatever reason, which happens a few times. And then you get to the very end of that game, and now she's a monster. And, you know, it just leaves an emotional impact on you, and it does it all without words or really any storytelling, or at least like any explicit storytelling. There's just really no beginning, middle, or ends with Little Nightmares 3. The pacing is god-awful. The first game, I think, is a lot shorter than this one, and yet it just feels so much more full. This game is just so hollow and unfinished. I think now would be a good time to talk about the story, ? So, how it goes in the game, you wake up in the desert in this little room. You've just come out of a mirror, I presume, because you spawn next to a mirror. And the two of you are together, and you go through the city, you deal with the stupid baby, and then you go through another mirror, and you're holding this little map. So clearly our character has some idea of what he's doing here. So then he goes through the mirror. Then we're in this meat slop factory, which I guess is just some random other place in the world. Doesn't really have anything to do with anything. And then we go through that, and we go through another mirror, and now we're in the carnival. And so we do carnival things, and now we go to the next mirror, and I think it's like broken, so we're screwed, and now we have to go find a different mirror. We're traveling through mirrors with this girl, and all throughout we're getting flashbacks. During my playthrough, I didn't know if they were flashbacks or if those were like present day and all this other stuff was a dream. I don't know, but turns out they're flashbacks to before any of this, where our character is sitting in a bed and he's doodling, and he's got like this little trapdoor thing in his cell that he's in, and inside of it is a plushie. Long story short, the plushie is of the second character. So, presumably, that character is not real, and it's in our imagination, and we're just believing that she's there to keep us going. So first of all, I feel like you probably might have maybe been able to guess some aspects of the story because her name is Alone. But also, if she's in our imagination, how the hell does that one scene in the carnival work where we're trapped inside a box and she has to like turn the lever to get us out of there? How did we imagine that? So I guess, yeah, we were trapped in this little cell, and we used our imagination, had an imaginary friend, and we drew a map to like, I don't know how we know about these mirrors. Maybe that's what the DLC will be about. But like, you don't think they could have taken an extra 6 months to like have those chapters ready for the start of the game and like put them before the other chapters so that the story is like, it makes sense and it flows, and they're not going to charge us more money in the future because they already charged us $40 for the shortest game? So I guess somehow we escaped that prison and we're going through the mirrors, and we somehow end up back at the place, and now we're there again, and we're like, and I guess this final enemy was our guard, or the person keeping us in the cell or the daycare or whatever the hell, and then we defeat him because we shoot him and the place collapses, and we find the final mirror, and the final mirror was in the place that we escaped from. So I don't know why we went on this whole journey throughout a bunch of different mirrors when the mirror we needed was like downstairs, but who cares? Hey, wait, how long has it been since we escaped from this place? Because we look like we're the same age. and like this place looks like it's aged to like 40 years. It's completely overgrown and destroyed. Whatever. And then we try and go through the mirror, both of us, but we can't because she's made up and she's not real. Oh no. I don't know about it. I mean, I don't hate the ending. I like that we have a good ending for our main character, because if it had done a sad ending, then it kind of would have felt like, oh brother, here we go again with this. Our main character never ends up happy. So I don't mind it, and I think looking back, the game is a lot better as a whole than as you're going through it and not knowing what's happening. But like, if the whole point of these mirrors and the spiral was to like just throw us into random corners of the Little Nightmares world so we could see some cool set pieces and see some unique enemies, were these the cool set pieces and enemies we were asking for? I think the second game is the perfect example of how to make a sequel and have it expand upon the world and improve things about the first game, but and still be reminiscent of the first game, but also be its own thing and just be awesome. So yeah, I kind of hope they go down a little bit. The message needs to be loud and clear, quantity over quality. This game doesn't have quality or quantity. The more I think about it, the less I like it. I'm starved for more content like this, more games like the Little Nightmares games, but I guess this holds me over for a little bit until Reanimal. Let's be honest, I think a lot of us consider Reanimal to be the real Little Nightmares 3. There's just such a shortage of cool little games like this. Some of my favorites are Inside, obviously the original Little Nightmares games. But if more start coming out and they just feel like this, I don't want it. I could go on for another hour about how, like, you really can't go 30 seconds in this game without a glaring fundamental issue with it. But it's kind of just a waste of time at this point. If you like it, that's fine. Just please buy Reanimal when it comes out and give that all the love and support in the world. Yeah.